of you.
Well, hi there. Good afternoon. Cindy Dole here. And of course, you know that this is Home Wizards. We're all about making things fun. We're going to talk about all things home, garden, and life improvement as we do every Saturday from 2 to 4. So how cool is that? It's a conversation that's really about inspiration, that's about you, to help you really rock your world so that you can make your indoors and your outdoors just comfortable. So when you get inside that front door of the place you call home, you go, you know what? Life is pretty good, and that you truly are home. So on the show today, we have got you covered really from inside and outside, some really fun and fabulous ideas and people. In the first hour, we're going to talk about some creative and clever ways to make that outdoor living space better. And who doesn't want that? Not just a patio and a table and chairs, and of course you got a grill, but we're talking about a lot more to really kick things up several notches. And how do you start? What kind of theme or inspiration do you select? What do you think it might cost, and how can you do it yourself? We got a guy who has been doing this for a couple of decades in Southern California, and now he's helping a lot of families figure it out with this great new show that's on the DIY network. So we're going to talk about all that very shortly. And then instead of taking the family to Disneyland, how'd you like to bring the magic of Disney to you and your yard? Yeah, like Tinkerbell and Mickey and the Pirates of the Caribbean. Does it sound kind of cheesy? Or is it something maybe that the kids in your family would really love? I mean, I know a lot of women who love Tinkerbell as their bumper sticker. Maybe you want Tink in your yard. We're going to find out from a guy who is working up those dreams with the folks from Imagineering. Then later, we're going to go shopping for grills. It is that time of year. Consumer Reports magazine is out with their new grill ratings just in time for the official launch of summer with Memorial Day weekend. And wait to hear how they shop for the grills, just like we do, undercover. And the retailers and brands don't know they're being scrutinized. We're going to find out what are the new bells and whistles, the must-haves, the basics in buying a great grill. And there's something called the Margaritaville Grill. Wait to hear about this so you can take it to your next tailgate party. And the second hour, we have more fun, too. We're going to talk about kitchen and bath ideas and plants and pots and gorgeous edibles, so all that to look forward to. So as you're listening and you say, gosh, I wish I could hear it again. Well, first, you knew there was an app for that. You just go to the website at cindydole.com and you download one of those barcode dealies. And then you just wave your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, right in front of the website there, and boom, you're there. You get it for free, and you have all the past shows and videos with you, and you can listen at your convenience. Keep the number handy, because I know you might want to join in. It's 888-539-2980, 888-KFWB. Love for you to join the conversation. Love to hear from you. So before we get to my first guest, and I had posted this on Facebook, I just got to share this with you because I thought it was kind of interesting. It's an article about gardening and the zodiac. And no, I'm not talking about that pickup line, hey, baby, what sign are you? But kind of. It turns out that, the moon's position in the sky appears to influence plants and animals. And so people who plant and garden by the zodiac are claiming that they mark the cyclical movement of the planets, and therefore that they have a better, I don't know, they're more in tune with the rhythms of nature. Does it sound a little weird, or maybe right on? Well, our ancestors certainly did this, and they knew it worked for crops. And so maybe it's something that you give it a go. So take a try. Plant half your garden by the signs, and then the other half as you normally would, and see for yourself which plot does best. And then be fair and let common sense be the overriding factor. So we'll find out. So on to my first guest, and signs of a different kind, that your backyard might need a little summer lovin', and TLC. We love that song, don't we? Because it's just a feel-good song, and so is our first guest. He's Billy D, and I'm sure you've seen him and heard of him around. He's kind of, he's the bon vivant of everything, from being a foodie to being quite the entrepreneur and the TV host. But it all started really in construction and landscape design, and it just goes on. And he has a real passion for making that outdoor space really outside the box. So I thought we'd get some more fun ideas on how to do it yourself and really make your yard, your patio, your deck a place to entertain and feel like you're on vacation. So welcome, Billy Derian, best known as Billy D.
Hello, Cindy. How are you?
Because Cindy D has Billy D in the house.
Finally.
Got it. So first, tell everybody about all the exciting things that you do. I mean, I love how you're just so eclectic, from cooking and hot rod shots, and you're a designer and entrepreneur. I mean, how do you juggle all this stuff?
Well, I don't sleep much. That's the first thing. I'm the classic insomniac, so like 3 hours of sleep a night allows me to have like 21 hours in a day to do things. But I just found out early on as a kid that life is short. I want to check the boxes and do all those things that make excite me. And I also have a really high tolerance for risk. So when you jump into new things, there's a risk involved. But I like to get up and get excited, and I'm really driven more by enthusiasm than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So if it excites me, I do it.
Mm-hmm. And so you really have, as a landscape designer, as a contractor, as a designer overall, you've worked on homes from the average middle class family to some fancy schmancy Hollywood celeb types, right?
Oh, absolutely. You have to. I mean, you really hone your skills in the backyards of the middle class, and then when you get a reputation, you can go out there, and people that have much more budget, you can get crazy. So that's what I did, and I have done, and I continue to do. My neighbors, average folks, and then the highfalutin as well.
Okay, and you've also owned a lot of homes and renovated them, so that kind of comes in handy to kind of know a space that has some good bones, right?
Well, not only good bones, but I think we lost count at about 25 houses. My wife and I had spec'd homes for a long time, but it also gives you your own palette. I mean, you're not being controlled by your clients or their budget. You go ahead and take risks in your own yard. You can do whatever you want and find out if it works. So, my own homes, my own spec homes were testing grounds for some of my techniques and design philosophies.
And so what is your design philosophy?
Wow, there's so many of them.
Yeah, okay, well, give me a few of them.
I would say the biggest one is really zoning, and how I describe zoning is if you look at a wagon wheel, there's a hub in the middle, and there's spokes that go out to all areas of the circumference of a wagon wheel. And that sounds kind of obscure, but in a backyard, especially when you have a group of people, I like to draw people to different areas. So if you have a cooking area, an area with a fire feature, an area with a water feature, a quiet little serene rock, I like to zone these spaces so you can spread people out. There's nothing worse than getting people to cluster in one spot, like around the kitchen at Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of zones, that seems to kind of relate, although you're spreading it out further, it kind of relates to the kitchen design zone, that little triangle where you want to make sure that your workspace, that you're, close enough to the sink and that you can go to the oven and blah, 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 but you're kind of spreading it out further as you're using these spokes in the wheel.
Oh, absolutely. And I like to do the same thing, that same technique. I like to create an area where there's water, an area where there's a cooking space, and an area where there may be another feature like fire in a triangle, and I use triangulation all the time. That design theory works, indoors, outdoors, commercially, in a car. It's just good ergonomic sense. Mm-hmm.
So when you look at someone's yard, no matter what their pocketbook heft is or isn't, what first goes through your mind?
Well, first, before I even look at their yard, I look at and this is going to sound like I'm judgmental, but this is important in design. I look at the car they drive, and because of the color and the style. I look at what they're wearing when they walk up to me. I kind of eyeball their furniture as I'm walking through the house, and I draw a conclusion as to what their tastes are. Sometimes that's not so easy, especially if you have a couple that have very eclectic tastes and they're different from each other. But, I draw all the conclusions in about a minute and a half so that I know what's going to happen in their yard, and I get a feeling for what they're going to be comfortable with.
And that kind of helps you maybe with the palette, too, because a lot of times I know that if you go by someone's wardrobe and the kind of colors that they like, that can help you with everything from paint in the interior, right, to the plants and flowers that you love.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything from colors to textures to do they like angles? Do they like soft lines? Do they live on beanbag chairs? Do they live on stickly furniture? I mean, you can tell right away, I think.
Okay, well, when we come back, we're going to go from what kind of car we drive to what's going to really make us feel great in our yard. We're talking with the guy who knows, landscape designer, builder, all-around guy, and host of this new show, Extra Yardage on the DIY Network, Billy Derian. We're going to talk more, and if you have a question about your yard, the number is 888-KFWB 980, 888-539-2980. I'm Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards on KFWB News Talk 980. Welcome back, Cindy Dole here, and we got a feeling that you have something to do to improve your life by doing a little something to your home and your garden. This is what we do at Home Wizards, your radio home for all things home, garden, and life improvement. Thanks for sharing part of your Saturday with me. I always look forward to sitting outside on our deck, part shade, part sun, and whether it's working in the day on my laptop and taking in the view and looking at the oak trees and the mountains and, of course, watching our butterflies, scoping out our milkweed, or maybe at night being out there with the candles and a glass of wine. It just is that, just relaxing feeling. And With me is Billy Derian, who has been helping improve those kind of spaces for 24 plus years, and now he's hosting a show called Extra Yardage on DIY Network. So Billy D, thanks for hanging out with us.
Sure, Cindy. Thanks for having me. A gorgeous, gorgeous Saturday, huh?
It is. And you were just talking about how to first size up a person's yard, that you look a little bit about, hey, that's okay. We're not saying that you're judging. It's what it's what we do. You look at what we're wearing. You're getting a sense of what our personality and our tastes are. But I love how you're looking at what we drive. So what does, let's say, I drive a Jeep. What does that say about the yard that I should have or want to have?
Wow, that's like a test. Okay. Here's what a Jeep says to me. A Jeep says that you're liberated, you like the outdoors, you're okay with rocky surfaces and things that are very organic and kind of heavy. It instantly comes to my mind, meandering stream-like waterfalls. Anybody who drives a Jeep, I would hope, once in a while goes out into the wilderness. So
okay.
I would think about pine trees. I would think about a fire pit that's very rustic with river rock. I would think about a meandering, waterfall. That's what would come to my mind instantly, and then it depends on the color. If it's a pink Jeep,
oh my,
I have to rethink that altogether.
So now you've just written the commercial for Jeep, so hey, you'll have to charge him for that.
I'll throw a few dollars my way.
How about the Prius? What if you have one of those kind of hybrid cars? What would that say about? I'm guessing that means you use drought-tolerant plants.
Right, xeriscaping.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's somebody who's really thinking, green and cares about the planet and the ecology. And I would use drought tolerance. I'd try to do a lot of repurposing, and also because the Prius has such clean, crisp lines, I'd start to think about very modular, very industrial and minimalist design for somebody like that.
How about a Jag?
Wow, okay, a Jag's opulent. You walk into the backyard, you want bling bling, so I'd be thinking about using travertines and granite and marbles and some sort of glass tiles to create some water features. I think that somebody who drives a Jag, rightfully can afford it and wants to be seen, and that's how the yard should be.
Okay, and how about one of those little VWs?
Like an old bug?
Yeah, yes.
An old bug is bohemian, that's kick back and chill and hippie-ish, so I might go for like that Bali vibe with lots of swag fabrics, a pergola, but not a very, formal pergola, maybe just some lodge poles put up there. Very chill, maybe even a little Marrakesh vibe.
See, that works. I mean, I can get that from as you do that. I think that really is a great and powerful tool for us to do to ourselves and kind of get smarter about, what is our theme? What is our style? Because people struggle with that, I think.
Yeah, they do. And, of course, that's a little bit of stereotyping, but I think you really can tell by the choices people make and the stuff that they own of what they want to, have in their yard and how they want to live and just what their aura is.
All right. And you've done some really amazing projects that have taken it to that next limit. I mean, the Asian minimalist, you were saying that that's something that you've kind of honed from your days of working at restaurants and designing restaurants, right?
Right. I mean, I'm a fanatic for Japanese culture and restaurants overall and sushi bars, of course. I know they're trendy now, but when I was 10 years old, the sushi bar was my pick over fast food any day. So I took all of those designs and those real clean Asian lines, but mixed with a little bit of antiquity of Japan, and I bring those into the backyard. So, my favorite designs are the ones that lean Asian. And the good news is, in our zone here in Southern California, we can grow such great plants that look Asian, like your bamboos and your black taros and your horse's tail and things that have an Asian vibe.
I love the bamboo that has kind of a chocolatey black-brown look to it in the cane or the stalk itself.
Right, just black bamboo.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool.
It's gorgeous. The only negative part is that happens to be the most expensive species here in California.
Hey, that's what I do.
You like the good stuff.
So help us kind of get started with this, as I'm guessing this is what you're doing on this great new show. You're first helping us figure out how we use our space and what we want, how we want to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. But let me impart that I think the most important part of Extra Yardage is that we empower people to just do it and not be frightened by, getting dirty. There's so many great shows that have reveals and they concentrate on the reveal. I like to concentrate on the process, but the process as it works with homeowners and amateurs. I mean, on the show, we really do show homeowners and their friends that you can build a giant fireplace in a day and a half, or you can lay flagstone, or you can build an outdoor kitchen yourself. And, to take the fear away by showing people it really isn't that difficult, and if you try, you can master it. And if you make a mistake, it's really easy to fix anything that's hardscape or landscape.
And it doesn't have to be expensive, does it? I mean, you can really do it at any price point, depending on what kind of materials.
And phasing. I I mean, phasing is the most underrated part of construction. You know, you gotta sit and think about what phases will affect others. Meaning, you know, phase one might be just, you know, a patio of pavers and your sod or your grass, but that'll inspire you to do more because you'll think it's not such a crummy, needy, weedy mess anymore. You'll go out there and you'll sit and you'll have your cup of coffee and you'll start to visualize things. So got to start in baby steps if you don't have the money.
That's true. That's true. But I like the idea of having a vision, of kind of being inspired, and there's so many ways. I'm sure you tell people to collect pictures of some kind, right? Whether it's with your iPhone and some of the different apps that are out there too, magazines, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there are great apps, and of course we can search online, but I still love tear sheets, you know, pages ripped out of magazines, and the reason I like them is you can, you know, pin them up all over the yard, you can hold them up, you can make a portfolio of them. I mean, that's old school, but that's still my favorite way. And if you take 10 or 12 pictures of things you love, even if they're diverse, eclectic, and different, and you blend all those styles, you're going to come up with something unique, obviously.
So what are some of the fun colors that you are loving right now to bring into your outdoor space?
Well, I got to tell you, we just finished on Extra Yardage a great, I'm going to say that it was a Moroccan or Marrakesh inspired yard, and I love cobalt blues and burnt oranges now. I just love them, and it's because if you use them sparingly, it's quite a surprise when you walk into the backyard and see maybe a block wall painted, you know, a deep cobalt blue, and especially if they're up against whites. So the combination of really bright whites with cobalt blues and burnt oranges, and terracottas back in the fashion world and the furniture world. So deep terracottas and those colors, those are what I'm really into, and that's what gets me excited right now.
And you're not using pink, the color of the year?
Well, if it is the color of the year, I've missed the press release. You know, I'm more towards the terracotta, and I love pinks, by the way. I like corals, you know, the old Miami Vice coral color.
Right.
I love that color, but I think that it is trendy, and, you know, I don't want to see people doing something they got to change in their yard, you know, more than every 10 years.
Okay. So let's say that we wanted to start something this weekend. What would be the first 3 steps that we should do before we go out and get crazy and start buying plants and doing all the other things? So how can we just kind of, after we've collected the pictures and we have an idea, all right, we want the Asian minimalist or we want the Tuscan look or whatever that is, then what do we do?
All right, so once you have the pictures, you got to do a little sketch, and I don't think people need to get crazy on plans. That can be intimidating too. You know, you can just take a piece of paper, sketch out your yard not to scale, and just locate where you want things. So stand in the space and say, okay, right here I want a fire pit. Right here I want a water feature. Here I need a big shade tree. Here I need a pergola, and start to plot those out on a piece of paper just so you have a guideline. Then you got to go talk to a professional, meaning you should go to the nursery or home improvement store to find out what plants will work in the zone in your area, and then to get a feeling for price so you know how to phase. Because once you compile your prices and you get your budget down, then you can decide whether this needs to be broken up in 1, 2, or 3 phases, or you can just take it all on at one time.
And tell us about the show. We can start seeing you when and where.
All right, DIY Network, which is fast growing, believe me, it's amazing. And Tuesday nights at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern are the new episodes, but we rerun all week, so just check your listings. And the show is fast. It's been described as a roller coaster ride. You click up to the top, and then it's, you know, a free fall all the way down till the end. So there is not a boring second, I can promise you.
Love it. And I love too how you talk about how a power trencher can be a great friend, because boy, we deal with this. We try to dig holes in our yard, and all of a sudden you go, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah, people underestimate the kind of time it takes to trench for, say, pipes or drain pipes, or to dig a hole for a tree.
Yeah.
Literally, it can take you 2 days to dig a hole for a 24-inch box tree, and that is a complete waste of your weekends. You only have 52 of them a year. So, you know, go out and rent one and get some instruction for $100 a day or something. You can get a nice power trencher or a power auger, which is like the big corkscrew for digging holes. And then you can have freedom to be artistic and have fun, not digging holes.
And you can bring your friends over and have a little fiesta. Right?
Yeah, everybody loves things that fire, you know, that have an engine and fire up.
All right, well, it's been fun having you, Billy D. We'll be sure to check out your show and your website and everything. And thanks for the good tips to check out our car to figure out what we should do with our vibe. So, Billy Derian, we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Cindy. My pleasure.
You got it. You got it. All right, well, as you can hear that music started, we are now going to segue from one kind of a yard, the extra yardage kind, to, well, the Disney kind. Yes? The best place, the happiest place on earth could be right in your backyard. Home wizard Cindy Dole will tell you about that next here on KFWB News Talk 980.